my apologies, part 2, www.mariahayden.com, and I am talking about the pain that I experienced that wrapped around and came up into my head. So we're talking about the following days. So we finished up Saturday. Sunday, I was much better. And what was my takeaway? 2020, we started intermittent fasting. Dropped down awesome weight. I maintained that. I stayed in that until 2021. Towards the end of 2021, my husband had been doing carnivore. I won't get into his story, but there's a whole reason why he went to carnivore. Amazing results. We'll do another video sharing all of his awesome things that have happened to him in the last 5 years. But then in 2022, from let's say December, it was actually around Christmas time. So December 2021 to February, we moved from one area to another area, and I started carnivore in that time. When I arrived late February to our new destination, I started having really excruciating back pain, debilitating. I'm a personal trainer originally. I've been in health, wellness, and fitness since the early 90s. I've been an athlete in my growing up years. And so all of a sudden I've got this debilitating pain, and like to the point where I'm whinging at my husband when he's dropping us off and we have to walk 2 kilometers. Like, that's nothing for me. I trail run, I walk. I'm an avid walker. I mean, I've walked forever. So I had this debilitating pain. I also got extremely constipated just during this time. And I had gone to carnivore with my husband. And so now I was in this new country. And so not only was doing carnivore, but then I was like, okay, I want to try this and I want to try that. So one of the first things I tried with carnivore were some artichokes. And oh my gosh, I thought I became allergic to artichokes. They do a really cool roasted artichoke here. And I literally would eat that. And sorry for too much information, but like I had to find a washroom like ASAP. And so I kind of just anecdotally thought, okay, well, I guess I'm just intolerant to artichokes now. Like, this one more thing in my journey of being intolerant to different foods. So it was only like maybe a few more months, because I started to get really angry. You know, I was getting really constipated. I was probably flaring up hemorrhoids. I was in more and more pain. And I was just attributing it to, like, we've just moved, you know, from one continent to another. We have new gut microbiome because we're in a completely different area of the world. I was just trying to come up with all these different rationales as to why I was going through what I was going through. So here's the fun, interesting fact, is that I completely obliterate the whole carnivore thing. I'm like, carnivore is brutal, carnivore sucks, didn't work for me, I'm just so uncomfortable, I don't feel good. At this point, I mean, lucky, unlucky, I had no scale, so I had no idea what was happening in terms of my weight. I just knew that when I left one country, I was sitting at about 109 to 110 pounds. I would say my body fat was super lean, whereas now I'm sitting at 124. So at 124, it would not be somewhere that I would sit. I normally sit around anywhere from 113 to 118. That's kind of been my buffer for, you know, ever since having my kids. I would say pre-kids, I always was around the 110 mark. Unless I was doing traveling, and then it would bop up. So I've been a pretty even keel person. And again, like I've mentioned before, I'm just under 5'4". I'm not a very big person to begin with. So fast forward now, we're in 2025, and I've embarked on this elimination protocol, starting with this egg detox. And what I've reflected back on, here it is, people. Are you ready for this? I've now deducted that I have been oxalate dumping, not only now, but back when I started this process of going carnivore. And why I gave up is because of pain. And now, 5 years later, I've realized this whole thing about oxalates. Now, oxalates for me would come in the form of chocolate, matcha tea, and sweet potatoes. Now, there's a whole gamut of other oxalates. One day I'll do a little whiteboard and I'll write them out for you so you can see. But honestly, ask a chat or a Google or something like that, I'm sure you'd be able to find all the different oxalates. And these have been accumulating for years and years in my body. And when I went on to carnivore before, I was in this immense amount of pain, and I stopped doing carnivore because I thought it was the carnivore was the issue. Well, carnivore wasn't the issue. It was actually the lead up for me to get rid of the oxalates. So I'm super grateful now with all the knowledge that I've learned. I'm happy to be oxalate dumping. It does suck. I do miss my matchas. I've actually looked into the fact that I can tolerate 1/8 of a teaspoon of my matcha powder, and that's my maximum amount of oxalates. I also have learned that sometimes when you oxalate dump too much too fast, you actually end up with really nasty symptoms. Now, I've been going through nasty symptoms, and every now and then I will have a matcha. But my favorite way to have it is with a bit of coconut water or coconut whip, and that actually messes up the fermentation of my gut. So I'm steering clear of the matcha. I also learned that if I was to have one square of like 85 or 90%, probably more like 90% chocolate, that's also a tolerable amount of oxalates for me to have. And the last one being sweet potatoes. There are so much sugars and everything in the sweet potatoes, and I was off of sweet potatoes for quite some time until it was told to me that in order to help my estrogen process and testosterone and my progesterone, just my progesterone, that it would be good to integrate some sweet potatoes. But unfortunately for me, that doesn't work because I am full of oxalates. So where does this bring us today? It brings us to the point that oxalate dumping is real. I am a total testament. Did it take me 5 years to figure out that they actually existed? Yeah. But I'm not going to be hard on myself with that because we're always growing and evolving. I remember reading the plant paradox a bazillion years ago and just kind of being foo-foo, whatever, plant, evils, da-da-da-da. But, sometimes it takes us time to learn these things and experience them for ourselves. So I just want to encourage you to keep digging and looking into what serves you. Please start journaling your food and your symptoms. In my Renew You journal that's sold on Amazon, thank you for those who've supported me in that, I write right in there little spots where you can put in the foods that you're consuming, what your bowel movements are like, your water intake, and then a few little fun things like your goals and how you can be grateful and so on and so forth. So that's Marie Hayden's Renew Your Journal on Amazon. I encourage you to pick one of those up. And if you have any questions at all, I'm a wealth of knowledge, and I just really want to help you get to feeling better inside. So blessings to you all. Thank you so much for following me, and I hope you have an amazing day. Check me out on www.mariehayden.com, and be sure to like me down below and subscribe to learn more about oxalate dumping and so much more. Okay, take care. Bye.